All right, what is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD123 here, back again here on PlayStation Source, and we have a brand new all-info video going over everything you need to know about the brand new roguelike mode coming to The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered later this week called No Return. So we got info about gameplay mechanics, about character unlocks, about what is the nature of a roguelike and what does that mean if you are new to the genre. We will learn about it here all in this video. And for me personally, this mode will be definitely played as soon as the game comes out, but let's get right into it. There will be a link below in the description to the blog post where I got all this info from, as well as timestamps for you to jump around if you want to go to a particular topic that you want to just jump to if you want to know the quick answer to. Now, first up here, how to access The Last of Us Remastered's No Return Roguelike mode. This will come included in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered on the menu, whether you upgrade it for $10 or purchase the full game for $50 if you never purchased Last of Us Part 2 before, and it will come out on January 19th with the full game exclusively for PlayStation 5. Now, if you want to go over all of the info about the Last of Us Part 2 Remastered itself, I will leave a card up here on the screen as well as link below in the description for that all info video. This will be different. This will be just focusing on the no return mode. So speaking of, what is the no return mode in the Last of Us Part 2 Remastered? It is a brand new mode that allows players to hone in their skills with Part 2's fluid and deep combat system through randomized encounters and challenges. You will be thrown into familiar locations from the Last of Us Part 2 single player mode like Jackson, the Channel 13 news station, and many more other iconic locations throughout the game. However, this is specifically a roguelike mode, so for those that are unaware of what that entails or have never played a hit game from the genre like Hades, Dead Cells, or even the recently released God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, allow me to enlighten you on this gameplay focused genre. According to Wikipedia, a roguelike is defined as a style of role-playing game traditionally characterized by a dungeon crawl through procedurally generated levels, turn-based gameplay, grid-based movement, and permanent death of the player character. Most roguelikes are based on a high fantasy narrative, reflecting their influence from tabletop role-playing games such as Dungeons & Dragons. While No Return Mode doesn't have a grid-based movement system or a high fantasy narrative, it has pretty much everything else that makes a roguelike mode. As players advance through the level encounters with unexpected and unique gameplay modifiers, death is very much a detriment with it being permanent in this mode, meaning you'll lose all weapons, items, and upgrades accumulated for that run and begin anew at the beginning of the game with a fresh set of other randomized scenarios to encounter. This turns a lot of newcomers off from the genre, but I promise and assure you, with every run, you gain more information about how to manage these encounters a lot better, as well as upgrades that we'll go over later on in the video that really do bolster your overall character as you progress through run to run. While the no return mode has really no set path or format, players will choose between different encounters on the corkboard in the hideout that we'll go over later on in the video, but these encounters dictate the gameplay experience you'll be engaging with, potential reward unlocks, modifiers you can acquire, and more. The hideout will act as the staging ground for choosing the next encounter you'll face by selecting a path down the corkboard, and you'll return to the hideout in between each combat encounter as well. So with all this talk about roguelikes having no kind of set framework or format, there is a way to beat the no return mode in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered here. So as stated in the blog, the key to success in this mode is to survive 5 encounters down the corkboard in whatever path you choose that all lead to a powerful 6th boss encounter. These are said to be some of Part 2's most memorable and powerful foes, but not necessarily in the ways that you first fought them in the original release of The Last of Us Part 2. The No Return mode has 6 bosses in total that you'll unlock in order, meaning you have to do a minimum of 30 runs to reach the credits of the final game, but of course, with it being trial and error and you having to overcome these challenges, you will definitely do a lot more than just 30 runs, but that is the nature of the roguelike mode. Once you beat No Return Mode, the 6 bosses will be randomly given to you at the end of each of the 5 successful combat encounters, and a rank will be given to you as well based on player performance. So there is a bit of a ranking style to this mode here. Now, what do those 5 encounters on the corkboard consist of? And that's where we get into the 4 different challenge types in the No Return Mode for The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered here. So first up, we have Assault, which pits players against waves of enemies. We have Capture, which players have to break into a safe full of valuable supplies that enemies are guarding. Holdout, which players have an AI controlled buddy that they have to defend against the infected, as well as Hunted, which players need to survive until the timer runs out against continuous enemy reinforcements. Mods will also be incorporated into the No Return Mode for The Last of Us Part 2 that promise to add a ton of variety to any given level that you're playing. Different mods will be randomly applied to different challenge levels on the corkboard, and selecting a modded challenge will garner bonus rewards for completing the challenge level. These mods can range from enemies dropping pipe bombs upon death, a thick fog enveloping the encounter map, and we see here on the trailer, melee damage caused to enemies will engulf them in flames, and enemies being invisible are also mods that we've seen, but there will be plenty more to discover in the No Return Mode. For me, these seem really cool, and I can't wait to see what other changes and ways that mods can really add a new breath of fresh air to any given level. Next up here, we have Gambits in No Return Mode for The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Now, Gambits are described on the blog as being optional dynamic challenges that can help players solidify a plan going into a challenge or offer up an opportunity to expand the strategy while working toward additional resources for that given run. These can range from doing a certain amount of headshots, dodging a certain amount of melee attacks, and more. So pretty much this is very standard for any roguelike mode. It's just little challenges that let the player do specific things to garner specific rewards for those specific tasks. So really cool to see that there. I love having these here, and these will help in the overall economy of getting you more resources to upgrade your guns to make yourself better on the given run. Now, speaking of upgrades and weapon drops and temporary upgrades as well for it being a roguelike, we have those all here in the No Return Mode. So as you complete levels in No Return, you will garner resources to upgrade weapons and skill trees for your character in a very similar way to the main game. And they basically said here on the PS blog that the systems of upgrading your weapons and skill trees are all kind of borrowed from the base game and straight up just taken from that main game. However, these upgrades, as stated before, are not persistent and will reset upon death or at the end of a successful run. And look, for those newcomers, I get it, okay? I get that it sounds daunting that you're gonna lose all of your upgrades and stuff like that, but there are permanent upgrades that you can work towards in this mode, and I'm telling you, with every run, you will understand the level more, understand the way this game flows, and it will be a lot better because you are learning with every single run, and that's one of my favorite aspects of the roguelike mode for me personally, right? And this mode will have weapons that will also drop randomly throughout each run, so getting used to a variety of weapons is going to be very crucial in your success in the No Return Mode. So let's talk about some of those upgrades that you can work towards from run to run that don't reset upon death, like new characters, skins, and more. Players can complete metagame objectives to unlock permanent upgrades that include new characters and skins, like I said before, so that way there is no run that is truly a bust or truly a waste of time, because you will always be working towards these no matter what. Players will start out with Ellie and Abby as playable characters, but through the completion of a variety of challenges, players can unlock Dina, Joel, Tommy, Jesse, Lev, Yara, Mel, and Manny. Through the completion of these specific challenges, players can also unlock new things like skins, different Gambit challenges, new buddies to defend in the Holdout challenge encounter, and more. These challenges can also range from fully upgrading a gun, purchasing 10 items at a trading post in one run, completing a specific encounter with a specific character, and more. Think of these kind of similar to the Gambit challenges that happen within levels, but they are tracked across multiple runs for permanent upgrades that unlock forever. The characters in No Return Mode that are playable go beyond being just cosmetic, with each character having unique traits that offer different playstyles. These seem to be divided into 3 sections, being inventory, which seems to be their starting weapon and equipment, playstyle, which is the overall vibe of the character, like crafting crafting or being resourceful, and traits acting as bonus perks that facilitate that playstyle in gameplay. We have a few of these from the trailer as examples, and we'll start with Dina. So if we look at Dina's screenshot here, she has a revolver with a crafting type of skill tree in her inventory or something about skills that coincides with her playstyle being crafting, alongside a trap mine recipe, a stun bomb recipe, and a double craft upgrade branch to maximize her crafting ability. So definitely, if you want to go in with the ability to craft a lot of different things at your disposal, Dina is the character you want to pick. And we start to see how all these characters differ here with Jesse having a suppressed pistol and pipe bombs in his inventory, leading to his playstyle being more resourceful. His kit is topped off with his traits being 30% more currency earned, unique items at trading posts to purchase, a silencer recipe, pipe bomb recipe, and a gorilla upgrade branch. So we see a more kind of, stealthy / more just resourceful overall playstyle here with Jesse with that suppressed pistol. So this next one here with Yara is really interesting because she has a pistol as her inventory, nothing too crazy there, and her playstyle is teamwork, and the traits here definitely boost that teamwork type of playstyle here, with Yara and Lev being a pair with an ally upgrade branch as well. So I bet Lev's loadout has maybe a bow and arrow, given that she's holding one here in the screenshot, but these seem to be kind of like Lev and Yara are just a pair and they will always fight together as a pair, which is really interesting to see how that's gonna all go down in No Return Mode. That seem to have these two always being a pair. That could not be the case. They could be just this specific build out. I'm not really sure what we're seeing in the trailer, but it seems to be that they are probably a pair for the long run. And lastly here we have our boy Manny here, who has some sort of pistol and semi-auto rifle in his inventory, an armory playstyle, and traits being able to garner 50% more parts, 150% more max health, no health kit recipe, a semi-auto rifle ammo recipe, and a munitions upgrade branch. So this one is definitely going to be for those that want to just run and gun, go crazy with it. And I'm going to take a guess here, just looking at all of these different loadouts here throughout all these characters, it seems like given how some characters have more traits than others, it leads us to believe that maybe these could be permanent upgrades, right, that get unlocked on their personal challenge tracks. So the more you use that character, the more aspects you'll have, because Manny has a crazy full kit as opposed to Yara, for example, where she only has a few things here and there. Granted, Yara has a pair ability, so maybe that could be a trade-off where you're able to carry more things if you're not in a pair, but I'm not sure how that whole thing's gonna go down. We will see when the full game comes out here on Friday. But we can also see how all of these different characters are going to have a bit of a predefined way to play them in their playstyle, with Manny, of course, like being in the original Last of Us game, being a bit of a glass cannon type, where he has a very high DPS type of style, he has a lot of armory at his disposal and everything, but he does not have the health kit recipe, so he cannot make more health kits to heal himself in combat. So that's something that's going to be very critical if you are going for that Manny playstyle, as opposed to something like Dina with her crafting style and Jesse with his wide array of resources at his disposal. So all of these will allow players to go into each run with a bit of a specialized character for how they want to play. It's a really neat concept, and it goes beyond just having, just cosmetic skins, because of course there are skins and they will be for each character, but who you play as goes way beyond just cosmetics. We got two more sections here to cover for the No Return Mode in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, and we have two different types of runs that you can do beyond the standard No Return Mode, and that is the daily run and the custom run in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered for No Return Mode. So for custom runs, these types of runs will allow players to toggle on and off various factors that affect No Return to gameplay. So I bet in this mode you'll have full control of the mods that you have, enemy types, and more that you usually don't have control over in the main No Return Mode. So I would personally love to see these type of custom runs be shareable through PSN with other players, so we can play each other's custom runs and see what challenges we can throw at our friends and see who is the best No Return Mode player on this crazy custom run that, is really limiting and really difficult. I think it could be really cool to see some type of share system within No Return for those custom runs. And lastly here we have the daily run here. So the daily run is developed by Naughty Dog and it is a run that is available every day day to prove your skills against the world. Every player will have one shot at this same randomly generated run with the same character to see how you fare against other Part 2 Remastered players, with a global leaderboard that tracks how you score and the runtime you do and how it all stacks up against other players. This will provide a great competitive nature to the game and a reason to keep coming back to it as well. So I think this is going to be really cool. We're going to see a lot of people really going at it on leaderboards. I think it's going to be a really cool thing to see how this all pops off once No Return comes out. And that would have been the end of the video, but we did get a last minute update here from the Naughty Dog Twitter that shows us some trophies that we'll be able to get for the No Return mode. So I'm going to just read just this full tweet here on the screen here, and we're going to go to it bit by bit here. So The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is getting new trophies as a part of the Roguelike mode No Return. Your previously earned Part 2 trophies on PS4 will transfer over to The Last of Us Remastered on PS5, including your earned platinum. So for this whole trophy, just to pivot just a little bit here, there will be no new trophies within the story mode of Part 2. The new trophies will only be in the No Return mode, and these do not affect your platinum status. So if you got the platinum trophy, it will not affect it. It will be a separate DLC category under The Last of Us Part 2 in your trophies, okay? So these new trophies are as follows here. Mixed Bag, get kills with 5 different weapons in assault encounters. Become the Hunter, kill 12 enemies in a hunted encounter. Got Your Back, win a round of holdout without your ally falling below 70% health. Burglar, open the safe and capture without killing any enemies. Roll Call, win a run with every character. Modded, complete an encounter with each mod. Risk Taker, complete 5 Gambits in 1 run. That seems pretty difficult. Good Riddance, beat all bosses. So that's probably the end No Return when you beat all 6 bosses. Team Ellie, complete all Ellie faction challenge tracks. So just to pivot here one more time, the challenge track mantra that they say here in this tweet, I think will coincide with those permanent upgrades that you get through the characters that we talked about early on in the video. Team Abby, complete all Abby faction challenge tracks. True Strength, get an S rank on an encounter. May your survival be long, win a daily run of No Return. And lastly here, may your death be swift, win a daily run of No Return on grounded difficulty. So you will have difficulty modes here in the No Return mode. I did not mention that here in the video, but there will be different difficulty modes, just like you saw in God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. It'll be the same thing here with No Return. Some closing thoughts here for the No Return mode in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Honestly, I love the way this mode is looking here on paper. I think it's going to be a really great, fun way to play Part 2, especially those that really wanted, you know, our beloved factions too. We're not getting it, right? We're not getting some type of multiplayer mode to emphasize the Part 2 gameplay mechanics, but to have this here, to have it in its place and to be able to at least experience the Part 2 gameplay in a more kind of gameplay focused, you know, state and gameplay focused mode, I appreciate that they included this No Return mode. I'm very excited to play it overall. It does not fully kind of mend the wounds of not having factions too, but you know what? I'll take it. I will take it. I will play it. I will enjoy it. I love roguelike, so I'm definitely down for this, and very excited to see how the gameplay of Part 2 kind of shines in this roguelike mode for No Return. I do think that the inclusion of having some type of co-op mode, I think here would have been great to see. Now, I'm not trying to, you know, be rude or ask too much of it, whatever, but like, I do think a co-op mode would have been really cool for this game mode, especially with having the different characters and different classes and everything, and different ways that all the different characters are kitted and fitted. I think it would have been really cool to see that in a co-op perspective. But I will say here that the biggest question I have for this mode that has not really been answered is, will there be some sort of narrative to it? Now, I'm not asking for full-on cutscenes or story modes, right? But if we look back and think back to what you're seeing here on the screen here with the original factions, right? You were playing each match to get resources to be able to bolster your camp that was in the quote-unquote like menus of the game, right? And there'd be times where if you were doing, you know, really bad on a string of games, you would have this thing where, hey, there is a threat to your camp and you have to get, you know, you have to complete this challenge in the next few matches to be able to lose the least amount of people and stuff like that. Like, there was a whole narrative here with the original faction. So my question here is that, is there some type of narrative or reason as to why our characters here in Part 2 are doing these runs, right? And you know, I I don't know, because I don't think that we should be going in expecting something like God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, where that was an incredible amount of story elements, an unprecedented amount of story elements in that mode that really made the roguelike mode in that game feel right at home and really give people a purpose to going through it completely. I do hope that No Return has something like that here. We haven't heard anything about that, and I just feel like it's not like it's going to be bad if it doesn't have it, but I am going to kind of miss it if it ends up just being this like just separate mode that does not have any type of reasoning or a narrative to it, and it's purely just as a gameplay thing for the players. Like, I'm still going to enjoy it. It's still going to be fine. I'm not saying it's going to be bad if it doesn't have any type of narrative reasoning to it, but I would like it to have a bit of narrative and reasoning to what you are doing in No Return. But down below, guys, what are your thoughts on this mode? Will you be playing it? Will you be going for that, you know, full-on daily run streak on the global leaderboard? Let me know all your thoughts down below in that comment section down below. Also, let me know what are some things that you would add to this mode that wasn't listed here on the full info video. Let me know all your thoughts down below in that comment section. Thank you all for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.